Everyone, back tuning into today's video. We've got everything being thrown at us by the Atlantic in the next 8 to 10 days. We'll have a look at all the detail in a moment. We're going to have gales, severe gales at times, heavy rain, showers in between those rain bands. Could be some snow on northern high ground, maybe some hail thrown in also. It's all going to be happening, everything including the kitchen sink being chucked at us by a very, very active and vigorous Atlantic. We'll have a look at all the detail in a moment. Before I get on with that though, just want to talk about the advertising. There's video ads on my page at GazworthBiz.com. If you hit play on the video ads, you'll be supporting GazworthBiz.com, and thanks very much for doing that. Gav Shop is open, and still it's open. It will be shutting on Christmas Eve, but it's still there, so if you want to do any Christmas shopping or any shopping generally at Amazon between now and Christmas Eve, you've still got time, but as I say, it will be shutting on Christmas Eve. So click through the Amazon banners in Gav Shop. It'll take you through to Amazon and then do Christmas shopping as normal. But as I say, got to get skates on because it'll be closing a week today. So we're going to start off with the 500 millibar height anomaly charts, as we do for these 8 to 10 day musings. And what you need to know about this, of course, is that 500 millibars, 80,000 feet, is where weather is taking place. Because it's got high pressure and low pressure developing. It's really those areas of high pressure, low pressure, really round by the jet stream running above that we get weather. So we've got the anomaly for 8 to 10 days time, which is taking us from around Christmas Day to the 27th of December. We've got the ECMWF anomaly on the left, the GFS is over on the right. Blue is low pressure, orange and red is high pressure, and you can see what's going on here, can't you? The British Isle is being absolutely hammered by a deep trough of low pressure sitting just to the west and to the north of the country. Very strong jet stream indicated by these lines blasting through the country. ECMWF and the GFS both showing that really intense jet stream sweeping through off the Atlantic, and an incredibly deep trough as well. We've got actually the blue and even the purple colours there sitting just to the west and to the northwest of the United Kingdom. You don't see those purple colours turning up very often. Actually, it's about as deep as a trough of low pressure can get, I think, in terms of these charts. So a very, very intense area of low pressure, very low heights is going to be throwing everything at us over the coming week or so. Just point of interest, not really significant for our weather particularly, but we are getting now a little bit of orange showing up right over the top of the pole. We can see it there on the ECMWF. We can also see it on the GFS. That is sort of pushing the trough a little bit southwards, I think, over Christmas and just beyond Christmas. Now, what it could do is start to allow some colder air to feed into this trough. Now, don't go running away with the idea that it's going to be blizzards and it's going to be severe cold or anything like that. You'd need much more intense blocking over the pole for that to happen. But nevertheless, it's just displacing that trough a little bit further southwards than, say, Iceland to Greenland. It's displacing it more to the west of Scotland. It means it's going to be very unsettled, but it does perhaps just allow slightly colder air to start infiltrating that trough from the northwest. So after Christmas, we could find the first of the cold snaps of the winter beginning to show up, particularly for the north. Perhaps less so for the south, but for the north, I think you could start to see some wintry showers beginning to show up. But it's interesting that both of those anomalies are showing that area of the barotypes of high pressure just starting to appear a little bit over the pole, and we're going to have to keep an eye on that as we go through January. It may well be that it'll get blasted away very quickly, but it could be the start of something, so have to wait and see quite how extensive that build of pressure is going to get. The GFS temperature ensemble show that we're going to be in the zonals anyway for the next week or so. We're about normal at the moment. We're going to tick up a little bit in the next 24 hours as we bring a warm sector through. It's going to be a very stormy day, or very stormy later tomorrow, anyway, into tomorrow night. They'll bring a cold sector through, then bring another warmer sector through as we go through into Friday. And so we go on with warmer sectors and colder sectors until we get just beyond Christmas to around the 26th and 27th. And then I think we're seeing a more definite dip in the temperature ensembles then as we go through to say around the 27th, 28th, 29th of December. It could cool off a little bit and become generally quite cool. Precipitation spikes show got lots of heavy rain coming up. It's going to be a really wet spell lasting to Christmas and even beyond Christmas. And of course, as we start to infiltrate that slightly cooler air after Christmas into that precipitation, there could just be the threat of some wintry conditions over the higher ground of Scotland in particular. But again, don't go running away with the idea it's going to be sort of a Daily Express winter Siberian sort of land mass across the whole of the country, Siberian wilderness. It won't be that at all. It's just maybe starting to bring some colder air into those areas of low pressure. The temperature anomalies for the next week, the 17th to 24th, we're going to be a little bit above average for the south, perhaps a little bit below average for Scotland, and that's just the first signs maybe of that slightly cooler air beginning to infiltrate around those areas of low pressure. But generally, it's still just a little bit above average, very warm still, or very warm for the time of year anyway, for most of the continent also. Precipitation anomalies from the 17th to 24th show going to be above average or average for many parts of the country, average in the east, well above average in the west and the south and the southwest. So a pretty wet week is coming up. Here's the generic charts. This is the GFS for Monday, the 23rd of December. Low pressure coming in off the Atlantic, bringing another bout of wind and rain. And then as we go into Christmas Eve, you remember yesterday the suggestion within the models was that there could be a really severe storm developing sometime around Christmas Eve into Christmas Day. Thankfully, the models have toned that down a little bit today. Nevertheless, it is a wet and windy sort of Christmas, and there's severe gales being signalled there at 6 o'clock in the morning on Christmas Day for southern Scotland and northern England. That is the same area of low pressure, I think, that was bringing the intense storm further south on yesterday's models. We've got to nail down where that's going, but the general idea is for low pressure to be dominant over Christmas, wet and windy spells, and the possibility, no more than that, but a possibility that something severe could happen in terms of gales sometime around Christmas Eve to Boxing Day. But again, it's a long way off, and we've got to firm up the detail on it. This is the chart for Boxing Day. Again, excuse me, we're in that westerly flow, feeding in showers or longer spells of rain. As we go beyond that, just very quickly, don't normally show you this, but as we get through towards Saturday the 28th, then there's the signs that we are pushing those low pressures through a little bit, and we're infiltrating this northerly to northwesterly airstream within the low pressure. As I said, on the 500 millibar height anomalies, we could start to pull in some colder air into those areas of low pressure and turn the precipitation wintry as we get beyond Christmas in northern parts of the country in particular. We're actually in a proper northerly flow there as we go through to Sunday the 29th of December, a long way off, and the next area of low pressure is waiting to flatten things off again. But it's just a suggestion that I think we could start to get some wintry weather turning up over northern high ground as we get just beyond Christmas. The east MWF, again, that flat westerly flow for Monday the 23rd. Now you remember yesterday the east MWF was winding up a really severe storm for Christmas Day. Thankfully, it's not as bad. It's moved it northwards off the northwestern coast of Scotland. Still a battering of gales or severe gales across the country for Christmas Day. It'll be a very windy day, feeding in showers or longer spells of rain. But I don't think it's the kind of sort of battering, almost obliteration actually, that the East MWF was going for on Christmas Day yesterday. But again, we've got to pin down where that low pressure is going. If that is a few hundred miles further south and the ice bars are more tightly packed than that, then again we're going to really get a bad old storm on Christmas Day. So we've just got to pin it down. As we go through to Boxing Day, again a low pressure to the north of Scotland, gales feeding in across the country, showers, long spells of rain. Winds are turning more northwesterly, so cooler air is feeding around that low pressure. As we go through to the 27th, as far out as we can go, just the signs that winds are beginning to turn into the north or the northwest there, bringing colder air certainly into Scotland. That would turn showers more wintry there. It's still pretty mild for England and Wales, but I think the next chart for the 28th, we can't see it, but if we had another chart, would probably show that colder north to northwesterly airstream filtering down across the whole of the country. And then finally the GM, the Canadian model, there's the chart for Christmas Eve, a wet and windy spell sweeping in across the country. There would be gales for all parts of the country on Christmas Eve. For Christmas Day, Well, again, we've got that very deep storm to the northwest of Scotland, where it is windy. There's gales, severe gales sweeping across the country. I think we'd survive it. It's not the obliteration that the ECMWF was going for yesterday, but it's certainly a very stormy old Christmas being signalled here by all the models. As we go through to Boxing Day, again, the low pressure is feeding through across the country. Showers, long spells, rain. It's windy for all parts. And again, it's just that idea as we get through to the 27th that the low pressure is being pushed through to the east, and the winds are beginning to back around to more of a north to northwesterly direction, just feeding in that colder air and possibly turning the showers increasingly wintry to the north of the country. So it is looking like a very stormy Christmas. The Atlantic's going to be throwing everything at us over next week and lasting into Christmas. We're going to have gales and severe gales, certainly. Thankfully, the charts have just backed off from yesterday's sort of bomb type obliteration that certainly the ECMWF was hinting at. But it's still a way off, and we've got to pin this one down, because the suggestion certainly is that something significant could still happen in terms of a wind over Christmas. And then beyond Christmas, just the idea that things are going to cool down and we'll start to bring in some colder air from the northwest, which could turn things a little bit more wintry up in the north. That's it for now. I hope you found the video interesting. It's a 5-day forecast tomorrow, and that's all for now. Thanks for watching.